All right. I'm gonna guess that yeah, we'll use the same thing here. I'm trying to go live on. Yeah, we're gonna go live. Okay, start up my timer again. Okay, it looks like we're live. And are we live here yet? Yes. Okay, great. I was on earlier, and for some reason I got kicked off the internet. I have no idea what happened there, but it is what it is. Um, now Autism Speaks has admitted that we are having an effect on fundraising. And I'm going to be talking about that also. But right now, I want to look at the Autism Speaks TikTok here. I don't know who that dude is. This gal is from Love on the Spectrum. I don't know anything about her. I saw that on YouTube, and this is like so loud, I swear. For me, anyway. So yeah, I've been on their site. Okay, now you notice that's all this white space. Why do they love all this white space? Their website is like this too. They're supposed to be representing autistic people, yet they've got a website here with all this white space, like they've never met an autistic person. Like they have no idea that that would be a problem. Okay, so I guess I gotta scroll down. Okay, this is Eileen Lamb. Now, she actually sent me an email basically asking, hey, you didn't respond to, what's his name, the CEO's email. So she was asking me basically if I had gotten his email and so forth. The thing is I responded on TikTok. Directly to Autism Speaks. They were asking me what they should do for autistic people, and I said, "Go ask the autistic community. Don't ask me. Why would you ask me?" Um, anyway, so he sent me an email. She sent me an email. And she is like the media person or something like that. And she is the one who coincidentally 3 weeks ago admitted that people complaining about Autism Speaks is having a negative impact on their ability to raise funds. And she was complaining about that on the Autism Speaks YouTube channel 3 weeks ago in a video that is on there. It's still up now. I've been recording this over and over, so.
Another extreme misconception is that Autism Speaks is a hate group. A hate group is defined as a social group that advocates and practices.
Whoa. Okay, wait a minute. A hate group is so now she's throwing down definitions. Now, if you want to throw down definitions, let's just okay. Hate group as defined by who, right? That's what I want to know. Let me see. Let me pull up Google here. Just a sec. Okay, so we're gonna go here. What's a hate group? By definition, she said by definition. Oh wait, we'll even put the word definition. How about that? We'll get fancy. All right, we've got definition. Hate group. Wikipedia is a social group that advocates, practices hatred, hostility, violence of members' race and ethnicity, nation, religion, gender, identity, sexual orientation, Hey, it doesn't say anything about disabilities, so it's not a hate group because it doesn't mention disabilities. Ethnicity? Yep, nope. Okay, let's see what she says. This is kind of funny.
Is hatred, hostility, or violence towards members of a race, ethnicity, nation, religion, gender identity, sexual orientation, or any other designated sector of society. This is the opposite.
So she took that right off of Wiki, which, I mean, come on. I don't think Wiki is really. Okay, if I'm making a video, like, I wouldn't use Wiki as my source. Like checking the just like we're having fun here. That's the first thing that popped up. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, whatever. Okay, so
of what Autism Speaks stands for. Autism Speaks mission.
Autism Speaks characterized autistic people as worse than cancer in their commercial. Is that not a hateful statement?
And is to make life better for autistic people. We want
by characterizing them as worse than cancer, by telling parents that having an autistic child will cause them to get divorced, that they will be a forever burden, and they will never, ever be able to earn money or go on vacations like other parents. Is that helpful to autistic people? No. That's hate speech. By definition, that is hate speech. And what's really shameful here is Eileen is autistic. She is an executive here now. As I saw some financials, and as I understand it, she got a $250,000 bonus, a $250,000 bonus being an executive at Autism Speaks last year, and Autism Speaks paid for her son to be diagnosed with autism, which I think is great. The funny thing, or the interesting thing about that is, out of that 4% that they give to autistic families, I am sure that money came right out of that fund to the out of the $400,000 that actually go towards autistic people, out of the $39 million that they earn each year, about, it fluctuates, but last year was $39 million. Only $400,000 went to actually autistic people, and she was one of them because she's an executive at Autism Speaks, so they paid for her son out of that $400,000 to get his diagnosis, because I guess that $250,000 bonus had already been spent. Just saying.
Charlie has a lot of very severe, challenging behaviors.
Okay, so we're already throwing out the word severe. They ask, in general, the autistic community likes to stay away from like saying severe autism, severe behaviors, or whatever, because that's very damning towards the person that is autistic. That saying that they personally are a problem kind of thing. And they're using this behaviors word here too, which is already going to tell us that this is the ABA group. So there's two main sides of autism that I've discovered, two main autistic groups. There is the autistic community, which is mostly made up of actually autistic people. And that includes supporters, etc. And then there's the ABA, Autism Speaks, what's normally referred to as the autism mom community. That is neurotypical people that have autistic kids, grandkids, etc. And so you can tell by the language that they use which community they're in. And just by this one sentence has severe, using this word severe, challenging, we're all challenged sometimes, yeah. And then this word behaviors, this is a clue right off the bat that this is a person that is in that cult community. And when I say cult community, it's because it does indeed fit the bite model of authoritarian control. And actually, I'm going to be going over that here soon because I thought today I would go through that. Okay, that's what it's always going to look like here. Is you're going to have the I didn't realize my mic was off all that time. So with Autism Speaks, I didn't realize that this was written here like this when I said that just a minute ago, but I think it was all muted out. But they're going to provide the answer. First up here, just like any religious organization, they're going to have this kind of thing. You're not alone. We're here. We're to help. Next thing, no matter what, we have the answers. That's to make the people dependent upon the organization. And so here we have the answers. 100-day kit for newly diagnosed. Okay. Common reactions to diagnosis. Your role. Oh, wow. Autism Speaks is going to tell me my role as a parent. Wow. Wow. When your child is first diagnosed, you will likely. Okay, your child's advocate. What they're trying to say is you're your child's. Your role as a parent, you're your child's advocate. No, I don't agree with that. I think the child should be the child's advocate. Are you going to teach your child to be incapable of doing things? Of course, we got all this on white space again. White, white, white. Autism Speaks loves this white space. I don't know why they love it so much, but they certainly do. Okay, so we've got all this white space, but no, you should empower your child. As a parent, you're kind of an advocate no matter what. That doesn't matter if you're autistic or not. So why make this an autism thing? You know. One of the most important roles you will have is serving as your child's advocate, advocating for your child, a lifelong journey. This is going to be an endeavor. This is making it sound like it's going to be a big deal, we're making it a big deal. You know what? It wasn't a big deal for me. I had kids. So what? I had kids. I was autistic. I had kids. And guess what? Both of them were autistic. I was just a parent. And it wasn't a lifelong journey burden. And that's kind of what they're saying here is that it's just not worded well, I would say. And I understand, yes, it is something that I'm always going to be a parent all my life. But we don't need to dramatize it. That will require different skills depending on your child's needs. Blah blah blah. Okay, so now once again they're citing. Once again, they have the answers. What is it? Why do these organizations always assume that you don't know anything? Take responsibility. Be a leader. Learn. Be an expert. Now this is interesting. They say learn. Be an expert. Not once anywhere in any of this paperwork will you ever see them say, go to the autism community, the actually autistic community. No, what they're saying now, this is the same thing that happens with cults too. They will say this same type of thing: learn, be an expert. We have the answers, and here's our resources. In fact, we want you to read this book right here. That's a very good resource for you to read. And what they're going to do is encourage you to look at what they want you to look at. And at the same time, they're going to disqualify, or in this case, not even mention the actually autistic community. And the most important thing you can do if you are autistic or if you have an autistic child is to go to the actually autistic community first. Always go to the actually autistic community first and ask them about their experiences and ask them for their advice. Not organizations that are there to get $250,000 bonuses just because. Come on, speak with authority, be proactive, document, be prepared, collaborate, be a team. Oh my God. You know, most of these parents, or a lot of these parents, are probably autistic. And here you, and out of them, there's probably a lot like me that are PDA. And so here's a list of 7 demands. One, two, three, four, five, six, 6 bullet points, 6 demands here. Let's see. If you're experiencing the follow sign, you might, supporting your other children. Okay. So if you have trouble, okay, now this is one thing. Now I realize the importance of addressing the parents here, but let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the perspective of this. Introduction. Response to diagnosis. So we're talking about the parental response to the diagnosis. What are you going to do? Your role as a parent. What are you going to do? What is your job as a parent? 10 things that parents can do to help their children with autism. This is things that parents can do to help their children with their autism because something's wrong or whatever. Building a support network. Once again, that's about the parents. Taking care of yourself. The parent. As the parent, you need to take care of yourself. How will I let go of my expectation? Oh my God. Tell me that's not ableist. That's what we were talking about. How I let go of my expectations. I guarantee you. Well, my kid's substandard. That's what they're talking about here. That is pathetic. That is so ableist. They're saying that autistic people are not going to live up to parents' expectations. And that is a lie. An absolute lie. My kids lived up to my expectations. I expected them to be human beings. And they were not flawed, even though they were autistic. In any way. Wow. Learned unconditional love. You may not have unconditional love for your child. Okay, I've got to make another video here.
The whole thing a scam. Watch. Sounds like a pump and dump. If you go and buy the stock, let's say from him, you're actually buying from him, and it goes down, if you sell it, you will have a tax loss. You could actually turn what could have been a political contribution into a taxable a tax loss.
I think that the value is essentially worthless. If they went to market and tried to sell $3 billion, the value of the stock would go to zero, practically immediately.
Wow. It's just astonishing.
But he can't touch that, is my
He
point.
cannot sell the shares for 6 months, and my understanding is he can't borrow against them either. But just a reminder, all of this was born out of censorship. This was the
All right, this is coming from the Autism Speaks website. This is their guide. Parents' Guide to Autism. Okay? And they say that they're not ableist and so forth. This is in their table of contents. How I let go of my expectations. That's what that says here. And the parent's guide. So in other words, your autistic child, we know just isn't going to live up to your expectations. And then it goes on with learned unconditional love. They're going to teach people how about learned unconditional love, because you don't have unconditional love for them autistic kids. You Oh, all right, this is coming from the Autism Speaks website. This is their guide, um, Parents Guide to Autism. Okay, and they say that they're not ableist and so forth. This is in their table of contents. How I let go of my expectations. That's what that says here in the Parents Guide. So, in other words, your autistic child, we know just isn't going to live up to your expectations. And then it goes on with learned unconditional love. They're going to teach people how about learned unconditional love because you don't have unconditional love for them autistic kids. You oh, all right, this is coming from the Autism Speaks website. This is their guide, um, Parents Guide to Autism. Okay, they say that they're not ableist and so forth. Okay. This is in their table of contents. How I let go of my expectations. That's what that says here in the Parents Guide. So, in other words, your autistic child, we know just isn't going to live up to your expectations. And then it goes on with learned unconditional love. They're going to teach people how about learned unconditional love because you don't have unconditional love for them autistic kids. You Now, of course, that was all on complete white. I don't know why their whole website is white. I have to wear sunglasses to um, to get on their site. But this is a PDF from the Autism Speaks website that has this ableist stuff on it. I haven't even read this stuff yet, but when they're talking about how to let go of your expectations of your autistic child, that is so ableist. And then trying to teach parents learned unconditional love because you wouldn't have unconditional love for your autistic child. Evidently, that's what they're saying. This came from their website. This is why I am doing 100 hours live stream all April, and I'm going to be getting on live stream just here in a few minutes. Where I am doing 100 hours of reasons why you should not support Autism Speaks. This April, let's occupy Autism Speaks and make a difference. All right, this is coming from the Autism.
Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or, here's here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up. Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could
Alright folks, I have never made a more important video. You have to watch this. This is Eileen Lamb from Autism Speaks. Look what she just said. This is less than 3 weeks ago. We are making a difference. There, you saw it right here. She I'm actually doing a live on TikTok while making
or here's another.
Oh boy. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. Okay. I was just looking at some responses I got there from TikTok. What I found out was that if you look at this, what I was just talking about, I just made a TikTok about this because this drove me nuts. I couldn't believe it. This is from the Autism Speaks website. I'm doing 100 hours of reasons why you should not support Autism Speaks. Now, this is a PDF from, this is a parent's toolkit or guide to autism. And right here, how do I let go of my expectations and learned unconditional love? In other words, they're saying, how do I let go of my expectations of my child? It's just an autistic kid. I had neurotypical expectations for them. Now, how do I get rid of them neurotypical expectations? And then this is what's even scarier, what's sadder. Learned unconditional love. That's what they've got there. That's what they put this in their guide. We're going to go down and look at that. Okay. Are you still with me, Tom? I'm going to go to, this is page 9. Gosh, that is just, Okay, there's page 5. I cannot believe they do all this white pages. This is Autism Speaks. They're supposed to be helping autistic people, and yet they have all these white pages. Are you kidding me? Okay, this is page 9. Okay, I got to put on my sunglasses because this is just hurting me too much. Okay. All the pressure was released for the first time I am able. What? He was Oh, God. Now they're going to do like a testimonial. Now, what's really hard about these things when they do these things is this is going to be written by some person who knows. So I'm going to end up criticizing this person because they are representing the thinking of Autism Speaks. So this kind of puts me in a jam, and that's why they do this purposely. So they put this, and this could be all made up. I don't know. This is probably a genuine person. I'm going to give them that. But let's look at the tone of this. The tone of this, one, is going to be directed about the parents. That's the number one thing that we need to understand. This is about the parents. Everything from Autism Speaks comes from the perspective of the poor victim parents, etc. And this is gonna. I'll show you that. I haven't seen this before, but I'll show you that's exactly what we're going to see. With one final excruciating push, he flew into the world. Oh, God. He was perfect. I just skipped a whole freaking thing. I'm going to skip a lot of this. He will smile, save. Okay. 10 fingers, toes. Oh, so he was perfect. And then she can just say, then I found out he was autistic. Suggesting that because he's not perfect, or he is not perfect because he's autistic. Or this is what she was thinking at the time. Guarantee you. He'll go to school. He'll be smart. I had great expectations. See, autistic people are not what everybody else is. They're not special. This is Autism Speaks saying this. I had great expectations, talking about her child. This is on a PDF from the Autism Speaks website that you can download right now, and it's called what is that? Parents Guide to Autism. And this is page 9, where they're see, this is what got me, because the letterhead here. What was the speech? The heading here. That's what killed me. How I let go of my expectations. That's the heading. Learned unconditional love. They're going to teach parents learned unconditional love, because you wouldn't have unconditional love for an autistic kid. And you do have to unlearn your expectations. How you got to let go of those expectations when you got an autistic kid, because they're substandard. They're not quite, real human beings. You gotta keep them expectations low. That's literally what they're saying here. And then they're putting it in writing. Like I said, they're characterizing. They're putting this as words of a person, because then it's hard to say anything or refute it, because this is this person's experience. And I don't give a shit. I'm going to attack it. I don't care. No, I'm not going to attack it in that respect for the sake of attacking it. But I am going to address it, and I'm going to act like, and I'm not, this isn't a particular person. This is a website. This is Autism Speaks representing itself. That's why this is here. So I'm not talking about this woman. And like I said, they literally did this and put it in a first person thing, so you couldn't say anything. But I had great expectations. The autistic community would not put something like this on their website. Never happened. I had great expectations about my autistic kids. And then right before his 3rd birthday, I heard the words. She's stimming because she doesn't know she's autistic. Okay, just stay with me here. Your son fits the diagnostic criteria for autism. All right, stream's over. our life is done. Let's just pack it up. Let's pack it up. We're done. We're done here. Right? Oh, come on. And see how they're making this such a, oh. This is Autism Speaks, and they're saying that they are not ableist. And they are not hateful towards autistic people. This is the Autism Speaks website. This comes from them. This is their PDF. I didn't realize at the time. I'm not going to. But it was really just the death of expectation. My kid's autistic. I had great aspirations for him, but now they're autistic and screw it. I just have to lower those expectations. Because they're autistic. Just because someone said they were autistic, I got to lower my expectations towards that human being. We don't care about support needs. We don't care about anything. You see, I confused the two. My real boy and the son I expected him to be. That is such sad ableist speaking. When I had my child, I loved my kid. I didn't give a fuck what I got. It was breathing. I had to feed the damn thing. But I loved it. And I fed it. But that was it. This is so ableist, so horrible. And do you notice how they are placing the family, the mommy here, the autism mom, is the victim? This is clearly showing that the autism mom here is the victim. That's what it's doing. I'm going to have to make another TikTok about this one. I'm not going to read her whole thing. I've learned the very definition of unconditional love is choosing to love someone for exactly for who they are. You know what? If you don't, you're a fucking horrible human being. Sorry. Frequently asked questions. Oh my goodness. From parents. Okay, now, once again, they're going to say these are parents. Thankfully, they are not attaching a name, but these may or may not be actual questions. These may be canned questions. We don't know. They're probably canned. And a lot of times in media, you will do that. You will generalize, I get this type of question a lot of times. And so you may choose one, or you may phrase it in such a way that it is a little bit broader, so you can answer it in a little bit broader or a little bit narrower, whatever. So basically, there is a lot of ad-libbing that goes on in this. So we don't, and there is no name attached to this. So I'm gonna assume this is a canned message, because a lot of times, if it is a direct quote, obviously they will put the person there, but maybe they're too ashamed because their kid's autistic. My daughter is 2 years old and was recently diagnosed with autism. I have some family members who keep insisting she's just delayed. Can you give me any suggestions? Tell them to shut the fuck up. Your situation is very... I'm not going to leave. Well... There's so many emotional processes occurring for the family as a unit, and for each family member individually. I was saying diagnosis, but yeah. Of course, there's the initial shock, because it's terrible, and then we'll send you spiraling into a true grieving process, because your son, you know what, I told my son, you know you're autistic, because I had him take the autism test and everything, and I talked to him about it, and it's like, okay, yeah, whatever, like, so yeah, you're autistic. I was like, well, you don't seem too very concerned about it there, son. And he's like, oh, it is what it is. And was our true grieving process right there. That was my grieving process. No, I grieved when he committed suicide because he did not get the resources that he needed. I grieve because he committed suicide because of this crap that Autism Speaks is putting out. This ableist crap right here. Characterizing autistic people as something that we need to grieve about because we're autistic. That's why I'm doing this. This is total bullshit. This came from this is Parents Guide to Autism that comes straight from the Autism Speaks website. The emotional processes that are occurring for your family as a unit. Each family after getting a diagnosis. Of course, there's the initial shock that continues spiraling into a true grieving process. Is that beneficial towards autistic people? Howdy, Space Cowboy. Is that beneficial towards autistic people? Is that helping autistic people? What is going on? Carol. I got my glasses on. It's so funny. Carol Kinsner. Howdy. Oh, yeah. I hope I do now. Let me see if I do have audio. Because I didn't earlier. I had my mic off. Yeah, I thank you for that. But anyway, yeah. This is craziness. So this comes directly from their website. Let's see what other ableist things they're going to say. You know what? I think I'm just going to quickly make a TikTok video on this one. Alrighty, folks, this is directly from the Autism Speaks website, a PDF Parent's Guide to Autism. Now, the big heading here that's so important that you need to understand that drew my attention to this is the table of contents. And that is this right here. How I let go of my expectations and learned unconditional love. What they're talking about is how to let go of your expectations when you find out your child is autistic. Tell me that is not ableist. In other words, I had high expectations, and this we'll go right into this here on page 9, where they have characterized a person saying all this stuff that I had such high expectations, but then I found out my kid was autistic. And we'll see the language they use, how ableist it is. And then learned, they're going to talk about learned unconditional love, because you have to learn unconditional love because that kid's autistic. You can't just unconditionally love an autistic kid, right? You know? And so I'm going to get into this wording here. Okay. Of course, there is the initial shock that can send you spiraling into a true grieving process. This is what their description of what it feels like when a parent finds out their kid's autistic. That's their characterization of what it is. When I discovered my children were autistic, I did not have an initial shock. I did not go spiraling, and I did not grieve. My son is like, well, it is what it is. We went on and we continued playing video games, actually. That is ableist thinking. That is how Autism Speaks on their own website is portraying autistic people. Tell me that that is not ableist. This is David Page. Screw them, flapperter. Yeah, so there we go. I'm going to put...
Directly from the Autism Speaks website.
Whoops. Yeah, I am so surprised that they had the audacity to actually put that. I hate it when the when it just rolls your crap when you're in editing. And it's still doing it. Okay. I'm just going to post this one. I'm not even going to mess with it. Okay. God dang it. So, yeah, that's pretty amazing right there. My husband refuses to accept the diagnosis and... Okay, I guess it's their kids' diagnosis because they always frame it in kids. Even Autism Speaks does that. My husband refuses to accept the diagnosis and will not attend appointments with our doctor. What can I do? What is this, Dear Abby? That doesn't have anything to do with autistic people. Since my son was diagnosed, okay, parent. This is all focused towards the parents. And when you look at the table of contents, this is a big problem with Autism Speaks. This is supposed to be a parent's guide on how to deal with their autistic kids, but it's all about the parent. Their response to the diagnosis, their role as a parent, the 10 things they have to do with their autistic child, how they build a support network here, how they take care of themselves, how they let go of their expectations of their child because they're autistic and not good enough, and how they are going to have to learn that even though that kid's autistic, you know, they should maybe have some unconditional kid love for that kid too. Just maybe. And frequently asked questions from parents. There is no orientation about the autistic person. It's not about the autistic person. This is about the family. Now, why is it so important? Because that's where the money comes from. Okay? These people have these kids. They get on Medicaid, Medicare, or the insurance, whatever it is. And then they can, the ABA is going to get paid for one way or another. And so that's real important. And in this respect, for Autism Speaks, if they can draw that person in and say, we have the answers, we should be your source, like any cult does, any church, does, you know, well, we want you to get the best information and look into it for yourself, but look at these resources. Don't go to the autistic community. And of course, like I said, they never ever mention the autistic community, not once. It's never referenced. And that's just how that is. Okay, I'm going to go back to TikTok because I'm getting bored. Okay, so this is Autism Speaks TikToks. We're going to keep rolling through these. Uh-oh, this is great. And she was talking about people... when was this made? In November. Okay, this is before I said anything. She was just talking about misconceptions and and things that were how people were being misled about Autism Speaks. This is 3 weeks ago, I believe, in response to me. But this is previous to that. Let's see what she was saying. Now, in her video on YouTube, she complained that people were misrepresenting Autism Speaks, but she never did say how. Ever in like 40 minutes. And that was her platform.
Another big...
Oh my God. No, that did not just happen.
Another big misconception is that Autism Speaks believe autism only affects boys. Autism Speaks does not believe autism only affects...
Okay. This is a very, very classic thing that you see in cults. And what it is we're going to respond to questions that weren't asked. She's not going to respond to a question. What did you do with that $250,000 bonus that you got last year? I understand she got a $250,000 bonus from Autism Speaks. Now, she's not going to answer questions like that. She's going to answer hypothetical questions that may or not even be real, that autistic people may or may not ever even ask or care about. And then she's going to address them. And then she's going to put that in a package and say, see, there's so many misconceptions about Autism Speaks, but that they're just little things about that, like, that people thought that it just affected boys, but we know better than that. And that's how they're going to frame it, that autistic people are complaining that only 4% of the monies that are donated to Autism Speaks go to autistic families. One of those autistic families is this executive of this is Eileen Lamb. She's corresponded with me. I haven't corresponded back with her though. And her son, Autism Speaks, paid for his diagnosis because I guess that bonus of $250,000 wasn't enough. So out of that $400,000 that goes to actually autistic people, part of that went to an executive of Autism Speaks to pay for her child, or basically they paid for her child's autism diagnosis. And I'm glad he got diagnosed, don't get me wrong, but that's just really shady that out of that 4%, I'm sure that's where that money went and came from. So I wonder how many other people that they're kind of like really close to Autism Speaks. This is a corporate person in Autism Speaks that got that little kickback.
Boys. I think this misconception comes from the fact that in 2005 we chose
and nobody. Okay, now she's going to talk about blue. This is interesting.
The color blue, and blue is often associated with boys,
and always has been, and since before Autism Speaks, the blue was associated with autism because of boys. That's fact. That's all there is.
That's not why we chose it, and we do not think autism only affects boys. We know,
and nobody has ever said that. She's defending something that nobody's ever asked, but she's not going to defend how the CEO of Autism Speaks last year had almost a $500,000 expense account. It was over $400,000.
It does not. I'm autistic. I'm a girl, and I'm speaking to you today. We started using a spectrum of color. Now our brand colors...
And they still left mostly blue on that, and they did go into the spectrum because autistic people were complaining about it. However, they kept the puzzle